So, Tyler from Plugged On. I'm here with an album review. I'm going to talk about the new album from Ne Obliviscaris entitled Earn. This came out on Season to Miss Records. This is their third album. This is the follow-up to 2014's Citadel. If you don't know this band, they're a progressive band. They're from Australia. They mix a lot of classical elements, you could say, and they have violins and all kinds of stuff. They write big, epic songs, but then they can really punch you in the mouth at the same time. They deliver beauty and heaviness together, in my opinion, in pretty much perfection with their first two albums. Citadel, to me, is an all-time classic. It is one of my favorite albums of all time. You know, when I first got into this band, I'm like, this band's really good, but over time, they have grown on me so much, and especially Citadel. I mean, Portal of Eye, their debut album, fantastic, but Citadel is just such a masterpiece to me of just everything. Literally every single element of the band, just perfection. So, nonetheless, I'm really excited for this album. I was really looking forward to it. And I do think this album is pretty solid. However, you know, while I think there are great moments on it, it has not captured me the way that I wanted it to. Maybe this album is a definite grower, and I will say after fourth or fifth listen, it has grown on me since the first, but it still has not reached the point of their first two albums to me. But don't take what I'm saying as a bad thing. I do think this album is still solid, for sure. You know, it starts off with the two-part Libera, with Saturn Spears, which I think is a really solid song, and it's a typical track, in my opinion, for these guys. You know, you're not really getting anything out of the ordinary, but I think it's well put together. There's some solid moments on here, especially towards the end. I think the end is just a very epic sounding thing, and I really enjoy it. And I enjoy the violin sections in the middle and everything. It's solid. You know, then Ascent of Burning Moss is more of an instrumental track of violins, and I think that song is cool as well. And overall, I think this album does a good job, like the past two, of just setting a mood and setting an atmosphere and just kind of sticking with it throughout the whole thing. Then you get to their first single of this album, Intravenous, which I think is a fantastic song. I think this song is really solid guitar-wise. There's some really great riffs on here. The ground vocals are fantastic, and Tim's clean vocals are great. I think he sounds better than ever on this album. And when you get to the title track, the first part, and Within the Void We Are Breathless, I think that's a great example during that chorus of, you know, his vocals. You know, he sounded great on his first two albums, but some of the notes he's hitting, and he hits them so well and so clean, and I think they just work really, really well. Those two tracks are probably my favorite tracks on here. I think they are the better ones. I think the riffs in those songs stand out more, especially if you get back to Intravenous. You know, there's a softer part, there's some violin going on, and then, you know, it gets a little bit more melodic, you could say, with the violins. They add a lot more mood and atmosphere to it, and then it comes back with the main riff and just BAM! And the way it comes, the whole band just kind of comes back with the ground vocals and everything, just works so fucking well. It's great. And you know, these guys, they have so many elements going on, whether it's a heavy guitar riff, or beautiful vocals, or, you know, blast beats going on, you know, the violin comes in as a lead or whatever. You know, they have a lot of things going on, but they're always really, really great at transitioning to piece, section to section of all their songs, and they don't do it in a goofy, progressive way or anything. It always feels very natural. It feels very thoughtful, and that's awesome to me. And then you get to Eerie, which I think is another really great track. It's the longest track on here, but to me, that song is good at kind of showcasing everything that they do. I mean, it starts soft and beautiful, violin, clean vocals, and then it just becomes more melodic and heavier over time, and becomes something very grand and cool, and I like that. Overall, though, you know, like I said, the sound just isn't grabbing me as much as their first two albums did. These songs aren't getting stuck in my head as much as the past two did. Like, instantly those songs were stuck in my head. Like I said, I think these songs grow a little bit more, and I think one thing is that the guitars on here, while there are some solid riffs, you know, there aren't as many standout solos to me, or you know, in the guitars, they're a lot more focused on, you know, chord progressions and you know, more melodic sounding stuff. And that's not a bad thing. I think it can really work. But I think that's maybe the one thing that's missing from this album, of maybe why I just don't feel like it's grabbing me as much. Because when I think of the first two albums, there's so many amazing riffs on those albums that grab me, or guitar solos, or you know, standout moments like that. Whereas here, you know, maybe, like I said, maybe over time it'll really just click one day with me. But for right now, after 5 listens, it's just not grabbing me in the same way. But with that said, I don't think it's bad, because, like I said, I think Intravenous and Within the Void We Are Breathless and Eerie have some solid riffs on them. But yeah, I mean, that's just me. I do think this album is solid for sure. I think it's worth a listen. I think it's another solid batch of material from this band, and I could listen to this band all day. I love these guys. I think what they're doing is awesome. It just feels fresh to me, and you know, they have so much potential that I just can't wait to see where they are, you know, with the next album, 2 albums, 3, 4 albums from now potentially. You know, they just have so much talent here, and there's so much they can do with this. So, let me know what you think of it. Ne Obliviscaris with Earned. I'm going to give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. I think it is neat, and I think you should check it out. Album reviews of Communic and Winds of Plague coming up here very soon. And then Cannibal Corpse comes out on Friday, so I'm very excited for that. So yeah, and check out our Anthrax ranking, Stranger Things Season 2 review. Check out the most recent episode of the Weekly Breakdown, where we talk about a whole bunch of stuff, especially video games. All the new video games that came out, if you're interested in that. So thanks for watching. See you later.